taking on Northport Batang Pier. And now let's meet the starters first for Terrafirma Dyip. A 5'8" guard from Sinay Negros Occidental, number 8, JP Calvo. A 5'10" guard from Mandaluyong City, number 5, Huami Tiongson. A 6'5" forward from Manila, number 0, Roosevelt Adams. A 6'7" forward from Cebu City, number 17, Aldrich Ramos. And a 6'10" center from Caloocan City, number 1, James Laput. Head coach for Terrafirma is John Cardell. And now the starters for Northport Batang Pier. A 6-foot guard from Ormoc City Leyte, number 8, Robert Bolick. A 6'1" guard from Iloilo City, number 0, Paulo Taha. A 6'4" forward from Imus Cavite, number 7, Sidney Onwubere. A 6'5" forward from San Simon, Pampanga, number 3, Jaime Malonzo. And a 7-foot center from Cebu City, number 24, Greg Slaughter. Interim head coach for Northport is Bonitan. Our referees for this game, Jimmy Mariano, Albert Lugla.
Soldiers on the front line for these two teams. Terrafirma starting with Calvo, Tiongson, Laput, Ramos, and Roosevelt Adams. And for Northport, Bolick, Taha, Slaughter, Onwubere, and Malonzo. I think, you know, what stands out for me, Coach, the size that Northport is able to use now. Not just Greg Slaughter, but you got an Onwubere who's about 6'5". That tip-off, by the way, brought to you by Honda, the official motorcycle of the PBA. You got 3 guys who stand about at least 6'5" there in your front line. Not to mention your big guys, 7 feet.
Well, you look at this young team, Terrafirma. This is not the same 5 that started in their previous game. But then you see a lot of height. Laput is there. Even Roosevelt Adams, who plays the forward position, can shoot outside. He's got enough length to be able to cover a lot of space. So you can definitely see a lot of potential in this team because of the height that they have in athleticism.
And that's also why they lead the league in rebounds. Certainly a strength of their game. But, you know, for these two teams, Coach, we have seen some flashes of brilliance for both squads. But what do you feel might need a little bit more work for them to really find the recipe for success?
Well, I feel that, Greg's
Not that.
taking 3-point shots. I would disagree to that, but then, you know, if he is being given the green light, perhaps he's also making it in practice because, you know, there's nobody. I mean, Laput is the only guy who can match up height-wise, and I think Greg has more experience to be able to still dominate the game.
And now, this is something that will fire Northport up to open up the game.
He's got like springs on his feet. He's like bouncing off the floor and easily just dunks it. On the part of Terrafirma, John, I really want to see more defense. They're last in the league in terms of defense. Okay, even if you say that they can score a lot, it's still very difficult to win in the league if you cannot play defense and make stops.
Look at this, Jamie Malonzo. Watch out, Bacolor. Malonzo taking flight. And can I just say, Coach Eric, I cannot wait for things to go back to normal so that we can have the PBA All-Star Weekend again.
Yes.
We need that guy in the dunk contest.
100% agree with you there, Judd. I look forward to that day wherein we can watch live and at least see all these high flyers in the league.
See, the bigs of Northport definitely have the green light to shoot. Now, Terrafirma, you know, again, they started out their tournament here strong, and that's a great sign for them. Tiongson converting on his first attempt because, you know, like we talked about earlier, he really powered Terrafirma over SMB in Barangay Ginebra, and, you know, just lacking a little bit from Tiongson in that loss to Phoenix.
Alam mo, Judd, when I look back at you know, Wami Chongson, he reminds me of a guy who, you know, in college he was good, but he became a superstar more in the PBA, you know. And that's Olsen Rosella. Olsen in college was good already. He had the skills, but of course, he didn't really get the much needed break that he had. Now look at where Austin Rosella is. Of course, he's coaching, but then yun, throughout his career, ganyan din yung nangyari sa kanya. He became a superstar and one of the top guards in the league. Chongson, same thing. He's already showing a lot of good things in his career, and he's becoming a lot better here in the PBA.
Alva trying to drop it off to Laput. And before this play, we saw Malonzo attack and just finish with a smooth layup. This first was that beautiful pass from Slaughter. That's what happens when you're 7 feet tall. You can see over everyone. And this is the tough finish that he had against Adams, who also stands about 6'5". Malonzo has really built that confidence and is starting to show his talent.
Yes, Malonzo, if you're gifted with a lot of, athleticism like that, definitely your career will definitely blossom in the PBA. All you need to do is some more maturity so that with your decision making on the floor, most especially in certain situations of the game, you will know what to do more with that ball.
It's just unfortunate, Coach, that we don't have Joshua Munzon in this game. Of course, prior to the semi-bubble, Munzon suffered, unfortunately, again, suffered a season-ending injury on his wrist. This would have been the battle between the top pick and the second overall pick.
Yeah, it is actually, disappointing that, he got injured and he will miss, the rest of the tournament. Well, hoping and wishing him well so that he would definitely recover, because a lot of the viewers and the fans are definitely looking forward to Munzon playing again in the league.
Yongson, beautiful feed, dropping it off to Aldrich Ramos. Wamit Yongson definitely the heart and soul of that Terrafirma offense, but it's been back and forth for these two teams, bucket for bucket. That's why we're tied at 8, and the pace, Coach, is so quick, because also that's a similar style for these two teams.
Yes, mahirap dyan, Jot, because if you allow Terrafirma to stick with you and go toe-to-toe towards the end, especially if it's going to be high scoring, that's the kind of game that they want.
Imagine they were able to take San Miguel into overtime and even beat them in OT. And you're talking about SMB, a team that not only is talented, but they're already seasoned, experienced, and you would think that they would have the edge in crucial situations, in overtime situations. Terrafirma just was relentless.
Even with Barangay Ginebra, we were definitely surprised. It was a big upset. But of course, I'm really impressed with how Coach John Cardell and the rest of the coaching staff has molded all these young kids or young players to be able to perform and compete with even the top teams in the league.
8 apiece for Northport and Terrafirma. This is your Honda PBA Philippine Cup 2021. 5 seconds left on the shot clock. Kyungson loves that spot. Couldn't get that one to fall through though. Bolik, who remains scoreless in this game so far. He dumps it down low. Slaughter. This time it's a shorter Gabaini manning him compared to the 6'10 Laput. Oh, Slaughter showing us a bit of another number 24, Kobe Bryant, on that fadeaway.
Oh, fadeaway, wow. But you know what, John? Gabaini did everything right. I would rather, Greg, of course, is the talented player. I would rather him go take a fall away 100 times. If he makes them all, then okay, we lose the game. But it's a tougher shot for him rather than going on a close-in dunk or even a jump hook that's so close to the basket.
One more look at that. Look at the footwork there too, Coach.
Yes, I mean, I'm sure he's been working on that. He's taking a lot of shots from the outside, and we saw that three-point shot a while ago. So which means that he probably has really been working on more in his arsenal. You don't really want Greg to be just a player who just go jump hook But then you, especially when he plays overseas, then you really want him to take more shots in that fashion because he will be playing against guys as tall as him.
Yeah, and Slaughter has been in the league for about 8 or 9 years already. But in his first few years, during the entire time he was with Barangay Ginebra, he never made a three-pointer. It was only in this Philippine Cup that he knocked down a triple. And that was back when the games were being played in the Inares Sports Arena. But so far, the rim here in the Don Honorio Ventura State University gym hasn't been so kind for his outside shots.
But perhaps he just needs to take more if he's open, and if it's, of course, it's within the system.
There again, a mid-range jumper. You're right, he's taking a lot of those. It seems like that's something that he really put some focus on during the time, the full year that he took away from the PBA court. Let's remember, he trained in the States too, so we're not sure of what exactly, what the kind of training that Greg went through, but we can only assume it involved a lot of jumpers.
Well, you know what? For me, I'm fine with it, but since if he really wants to really improve on that, I think the first thing he has to do is to get better position, because Gabaini is really pushing him out, and sometimes Greg has to hold his ground so that at least he's not too far from the basket when he goes on a face-up jumper.
How about Bolik? On that block, forcing a turnover for Terrafirma. Slaughter was caught in the outside on the switch, guarding the guard, and Bolik held down the paint. However, it's just a 2-point lead that his team is enjoying. This timeout brought to you by Honda, the official motorcycle of the PBA. Terrafirma, they are missing the services of one important guy in that team, in Andreas Cahilig. He's not a superstar yet, but then the things he does for this team, it's really something that has helped them get as much success as they have had. But again, against Phoenix, he sprained his ankle.
Well, he's a very physical player. You like his intensity, and definitely he can also shoot from the outside. So it was unfortunate that he got sprained in that last game with just 10 minutes of his playing time, and he was already performing well. So this is the kind of player that definitely Terrafirma would need. Someone like Cahilig who can match up against a guy like Sean Anthony.
Also, guys, stepping up for them is Matt Ganuelas Rosser, who just checked into the game. Gabaini. I'm not even sure if it was Slaughter who blocked that, or
he was blocked by the backboard.
Exactly. Slaughter. They are challenging him to take that shot. Oh, and Anthony gets called for the loose ball foul. He was surprised about that. He was actually contesting, not the foul, but he was saying that that basket should count. And then he realized the foul was on him.
He was surprised there, and the players are, even Garbo Lanet is talking to the refs, trying to clarify things.
If you're Terrafirma coach, do you keep sagging on Greg?
Yes, I will. I would rather him take all his shots outside, especially if I don't have a 7-footer. He can take it all day long. If we lose because he hits 10 of them, then so be it. I'd rather gamble on that than him take the ball on the post.
It's much more than, the way I understand what you're saying, it's much more than him taking lower percentage shots
Yes.
on those jumpers. But it's also the fact that he won't be there to get offensive rebounds.
Exactly, exactly. I mean, of course, it's harder to box out Sean Anthony, even Kevin Ferrer. But then, where would you have to pick your poison, John. Which is harder, Greg being in the middle or Greg being outside?
Absolutely. And, well, that is the point of concern, possibly, for interim coach Bonnie Tan for Northport. Again, so far, they are, pretty much daring Slaughter to take that outside shot. Matt Ganuela's roster, you have to like how he's starting to be more aggressive offensively for Terrafirma.
Well, he has to. He's been with top teams in the league, so definitely he's exposed to a lot of competition, whether he got playing time or just in practice. So you know that what kind of player that he is. But then, I think he's also changing his free throw style because the previous shots that he had were also not as accurate as maybe this one. Troy Reich seeing action for the first time. I didn't really get to see him that last time that Northport played against the Bossings.
Yeah, and that's another thing, another guy who brings in some size for the Northport Batang Pier.
And he can shoot also.
Yeah, in fact, there was a time earlier in this tournament, about maybe 2 to 3 games in, coach, he was leading the league in three-point shooting.
He can shoot. Maybe he wasn't ready in the last game. It was coach's decision not to use him. Perhaps he's also recovering from injury as well.
Well, that guy can definitely shoot. We've seen it time and time again.
Garvo Lanete, who's definitely going to be an asset for this Northport team. When you have a good 7-footer in the middle, all you need is just to surround him with a lot of shooters who can really extend out the defense.
Eric Camson is also another guy, coach, who has just stepped his game up when he entered this semi-bubble.
Guys who really get a lot of playing time will definitely get a lot of confidence. And that's something that Camson and all the other Terrafirma players had, because Coach John Cardell has really been, sharing that playing minutes to all of these players.
There's Troy Reich. Gabaini has to watch it with his reactions after getting called for that foul. Look at this. Balanza earlier assisted on a three-pointer for Garvo Lanete. This time, spotting Reich for possibly a three-point play, and that puts Northport up by 6. Troy Reich recently joined the Northport Batang Pier as their 11th overall pick in the recent PBA draft. And when he came over to the Philippines to play for the National University, there was some talk, some controversy, including involved in that. But he's earned his right to be here in the pros, and he's definitely contributing, although missing that bonus free throw. And in today's game, Coach Eric, big man who can shoot as well as he does, always a welcome sight for any team.
Well, they will always be given playing minutes, because they're not only limited to just playing inside the shaded area. If they get the kick out, they have the capability to shoot it.
Northport still up by 6. There's a foul that's going to be whistled on Sean Anthony again. And that's the second time that the kind of foul that was whistled on him, coach, was hooking the arm of his man.
Well, he has to really watch it. He has to calm down. Sometimes when you're overeager, nagigigil ka masyado, there's a tendency to do that. No, Sean is a very strong player. So he's very confident with his upper body strength. So when you try to deny him on the block, sometimes nagigigil siya. That's why he uses his strength more rather than getting better position.
That's right. And right now, Sean Anthony might want to settle down a little bit, because when he's definitely someone who can inject a lot of energy into Northport, and you don't want that energy to backfire, because there's also a potential not just with Anthony but for the players as energetic as he is.
Yeah, usually that happens. It happens to the best of them. They know that what to do already. It's just that sometimes in the game you get too intense, and you just have to calm down, as you said. And I really agree with you there.
Balanza able to get to the cup. Earlier, 2 times he set his teammates up. This time getting some for himself.
Wow, what a nice play by Balanza. He's got 2 assists, plus he is able to score also.
Good setup there, Lanete to Ferrer. And that was excellent spacing, coach, in transition for Northport.
Yes, they really knew what to do and where to position or to find Kevin Ferrer of a transition 3.
Zelda, still trying to shake off the struggle that he had in their previous game. Ferrer looking for options, playing a 2-man game with Reich. There goes that pocket pass, but MGR, those lengthy arms getting in the way. The passing for Terrafirma right now looking a little bit sloppy. That's a miss for them, and now Northport can try to take the last shot of the first period. They've also played excellent defense, coach, limiting Terrafirma to 12 points. Only 4 for 15 shooting for the Chief. Balanza almost got away, but lost the ball out of bounds. One last try for Terrafirma. Kamson will heave from half court. Almost, but not quite. So it's a 10-point lead for the Batang Pier to end the first period. A lot of Jamie Malonzo written all over that first quarter. And they've also had so many contributors. The best scorer for the team only has 4 points. It's the quantity of guys who have been able to contribute. The Northport Batang Pier, they got a lot of contributions from Kevin Ferrer. And it's always a good sight if you're a Northport fan to see Kevin Ferrer able to contribute. Because let's remember, coach, this guy can definitely be at a superstar level for this team. But road with the Batang pair has also been hampered by injuries.
Pwede. I mean, that's only the most difficult part of anyone's career. Kevin is a very talented player. He's also a high leaper, can shoot, but the problem is, when you get really injured, then you definitely just have to beef up more on your training, on your recovery. I guess once he gets that down, he'll definitely be a superstar here in the league if he is already one.
Coach, imagine Northport has 22 points. And they scored 22 points in the first quarter. And they had 9 players contributing to put together those 22 points. How big of a good thing is that if you're, of course, interim coach Bonnie Tan?
Well, they're sharing the ball, and that's something that any coach would definitely like. Coach Bonnie is a winner as well. He's done this with the Tran. He definitely will just continue to push his players and continue the execution or the leadership of what Coach Pido has instructed them. I'm sure they have their own adjustments, even if Coach Pido is not here. And definitely, if you have everyone contributing, then there must be something good that they are doing, like sharing of the basketball.
Northport, kind of self-destructing here at the start of the second quarter. Actually, even towards the last part of the first quarter, because they just had a lot of turnovers. That's already 3 offensive fouls that they were called for, and then a traveling violation on Mubere.
But that's something that they really have to work on, especially if they end up playing the tougher teams in the league.
And if there's one thing we've learned about Terrafirma here in Bacolor, Pampanga, it's that when you give the Jeep an opportunity to go on a run, to try and take a win from you, they will be more than happy to take it.
Well, the key to playing a young team, especially like Terrafirma, is you cannot give them confidence early. What happens is when teams play them thinking that they are young, you have that tendency to take them for granted. But you cannot, because you know that guys like Wami Chongson, even Gabayni had a great game last time out. I mean, these guys can produce, especially if you don't defend them properly.
Here's Ferrer. Reich will take it from outside. Look at that stroke. That's coming from someone who's 6'8".
Well, he has all he has that height to be able to use it as an advantage for an outside shot compared to those guys challenging him. But one thing nice about his shot is he releases it so quick.
Ganuelas Rosser missing, Reich getting the board. Elorde pushing the pace against Tiongson, his former teammate. Nico looking like he got hurt there. Suffered a bad fall, but nothing that he won't be able to handle.
I think he hurt his finger there.
Well, he was fearless in this attack, coach. Collision between 2 former Ateneo de Manila Blue Eagles. Elorde is also someone who has been able to really help Northport, especially during the time that Robert Bolick was still recovering from a torn ACL. He was the one who was tasked to man that point guard position, and Elorde, I think in the PBA, he's more known as a defender, but he was pretty steady at the 1 for Northport.
Well, he's a fighter, literally and figuratively. He came from a
He
family
not only
of boxers.
exactly.
so I mean, he has that attitude that he will definitely want to compete, and he will never let anything stand in his way. Despite him being not that tall, he will make up for that in many ways.
Terrafirma knocking on the door of Northport. Slaughter and Bolick, the 1-2 punch that we were talking about earlier. Onubere puts the ball on the floor, challenging Ramos, and was able to draw a foul.
Well, it's good that Onubere was able to draw that foul. Because if he did not, he failed to swing that basketball on the opposite side, and Elorde was wide open here on the left side of the court.
That's very true. And Onubere has, since his time with Rain or Shine, we've seen him kind of fall into a situation where he would really try to look for a shot. You know, of course, for some of these players, they are given the coach's green light for that. So that's something that, maybe that's exactly what the coaches instructed Onubere. But coach, I've seen this guy play since he was in high school, and his game has grown so much. In high school, he didn't really put that ball on the floor, but when he was in college, that's where his game really grew, playing for the EAC Generals.
But sometimes it's only the break. There are a lot of players who started out late, and yet they were able to develop their style.
Elorde getting swatted from behind by Adams, but Roosevelt caught a bit. No, actually not a bit. A lot of Elorde's body.
It's the second time that Elorde has been knocked down. He definitely needs to recover, but Batilier, he read that defense very well. It was a wide open lane despite the presence of the bigs of Northport.
Can we take a second to really process that highlight, that attack from Batilier? He left balling, driving to the basket. And when he got to the basket, Slaughter was waiting for him, but still was able to collect 2 points.
Sayang, hindi. Slaughter could have tried to intimidate him by trying to block his shot.
This is something that, a role that feels quite new to see Matt Ganuelas Rosser assume. He's handling the rock a little bit more for Terrafirma. Of course, that's something we didn't exactly see much of when he was playing for TNT and SMB.
Well, sometimes it...
That's going to be a hard foul on Slaughter. And that was pretty scary to see, Coach Eric.
Well, it's a dangerous foul there on Greg. I don't think he meant it. It's just that those are the things that kind of knocked the wind out of Adams there.
And even mid-air, the way that Adams' body was bent. Oh, yeah, that is...
No, he wanted to swat because the ball was in that area. But the thing is, accidentally hit him on the neck.
No, we really hope Adams is okay. And Slaughter, I don't think, Batilier trying to confront Slaughter immediately. Yeah, I would have to agree with you. I don't think that he really intended to hurt Adams or any ill intentions there, but it might still be warranted for something more than a regular foul.
It should, because it hit the neck.
And it was really dangerous, Coach.
Yeah,
And that is a huge development on Slaughter. He's done for the day. A flagrant foul, penalty 2 on Greg Slaughter. And that's going to be it for him.
Yeah, that's going to be it for Greg. I mean, it was accidental. But then, even when you look at the replay, I mean, it really was a dangerous foul.
Look at him apologizing to the Terrafirma bench, including, of course, Coach Johnny Del Cardel. And, even when we saw the replay after Greg committed that foul, after, of course, a little bit of commotion, nothing that the players and referees weren't able to handle, Greg was actually saying, my bad, to his teammates, to the Terrafirma players on the floor. But again, it was assessed a flagrant 2. Greg exits the game after playing 10 minutes. 2 points, 1 of 6 from the field, 3 rebounds.
I always just ask myself, okay, not connected to that, well, in connection to that foul of Greg, he's 7 foot. Why would you want to hack the ball below if you have the advantage up top? So that's something that
Yeah.
is always like, in my mind. But then, of course, Greg may have his reasons there. But, for me, it would be a lot better for Greg if he just challenges up top rather than, hack or trying to swipe from below, which is normally the job of the guards.
In that sequence alone, Coach Eric, ang feel ko lang also is that it was also the sidestep
Yes, the
that
sidestep
Adams used.
Yes.
It kind of threw the defense of Slaughter off guard. So yun nga, nung tinaas ni Greg yung kamay niya, he tried to catch Adams with his right hand, and unfortunately it flipped.
Yeah, the ball
the
was
head.
also on the side of Adams, so Greg wanted to block the ball from there, but it's just that Adams was able to keep it, kaya inabot na lang yung neck ni Adams, which is very unfortunate.
Look at this play here. Robert Bolick. He might turn on takeover mode, understanding that Greg is no longer there.
What a move by Robert Bolick there. So shifty.
Now attacking the paint, unsuccessful where, well, there were towers down there for Terrafirma, but the
Oh, nice.
the
move.
crossover, leaving it for
Oh,
Rosser.
he
Oh,
missed it.
unsuccessful though.
Could have used the glass there in the middle, but he missed it entirely.
Anthony trying to fish for a foul. No whistle, but he was able to get 2 points.
Even without Greg here, Northport would still be a tough team to beat.
I mean, we highlighted earlier the height that this team has. As Adams knocks down a three. At the same time, Coach, Northport started this conference without Greg Slaughter.
Yes, you're right there. You're right. Kita mo, even Victor Lourdes, getting into the scoring picture also, aside from the free throws he took.
3-point shooting for these two teams playing a key factor. A lot of made threes here in the first half. Kyung-son hanging in the air. Adams again from deep. No. Rosser with the board. Wami comes up short on his attack. Onobere being trapped. Approaching the halfway point of this first or second quarter, Bolick another three. And Northport keeps firing away. That is now their sixth three-pointer here in the first half.
Well, they just quicken up the pace of the game, and this is something that will also benefit Northport because they have the outside artillery to do it.
Look at Robert Bolick bringing out all the threes and all the celebrations for them. And like we said, Coach, para talagang flinip na ni Robert Bolick yung switch that, okay, it's my time. This is gonna be my game. And, that guy is highly capable of pulling out something like that. Especially, we talked about his 1-2 punch with Greg Slaughter. Slaughter got ejected just a while ago.
Yes, definitely. Right there, that's the reason why Greg got ejected in the game. Unfortunate, but all the players of Terrafirma understood what really happened there.
Yeah, and Northport will have to find a way to maneuver around this game without their 7-foot giant, Greg Slaughter. Like you said, though, there's a lot of talent in this team. And there are certain teams that will initially come to mind if you want to talk about depth of talent, players. But I feel like Northport should be up there in conversation as well.
Yes, they have the manpower for that. Sean Anthony's there. I mean, they may have to go small, but then that small lineup of Northport is solid.
Absolutely. Gabayni getting called for a 3-second violation. Earlier in this quarter, Terrafirma was starting to come back, but they fall behind again by 12. As we bring you this time out, brought to you by Honda, the official motorcycle of the PBA. We thank you for joining us here on PBA Rush. We're taking a look at the numbers that Robert Bolick has been able to produce here in the first half. Look at that mug. Look at that face. That says business.
Yeah, once it changes up from point guard mode to scoring mode.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, in the beginning, Robert didn't really score as much because he knows that his job is to really involve everyone on offense. But when Greg got ejected, well, he knew that he will definitely take charge again, and he's just on a tear right now.
You mentioned it earlier. When Bolick wants to score, he definitely can. I think that's what we saw in the last 3 to 4 possessions of Northport.
Yeah, he's feeling it also. It's really all about him getting pumped up. He got a couple of shots in, so now he's definitely unstoppable.
And right now, it's going to be a challenge for Terrafirma to try and stop the rally of the Batang Pier here. Because when Robert Bolick starts to catch fire, like what's happening right now, that's gonna be a horrific sight for Terrafirma.
For sure. For sure. Maraming there's so many, the guards of Terrafirma will have a nightmare trying to contain Bolick.
This one currently an 8-0 run for the Terrafirma for the Northport Batang Pier rather. Point lead for them. That's a good look for Zelda. Not only is Bolick scoring, he's grabbing rebounds.
Good line.
Oh, good block there by Eric Camson.
I like the fight back of Gabayni and most especially Camson. You see that he's trying to fire up his teammates here to really compete.
Malonzo attacking the paint, looking for a foul there. But off to the other side is Terrafirma. Adams looking to provide. He does with that difficult shot.
He's also a good scorer here.
Asking for a sub there too. Now he missed a couple of games for Terrafirma as well. Nursing some stomach issues, but back there on the floor. And in the first few games of Terrafirma, he was actually their leading scorer.
Well, he's got a good stroke from the outside, and in their last game, he was shooting the ball very well.
Yeah, and I think, Coach, let's remember that he was also a top overall pick in the PBA draft. But I felt like it was really a difficult situation where and how he started his PBA career. It was the first ever bubble setup in the history of the league, and the pandemic had just begun. So everyone was trying to look for our way, maneuver around the situation. But now that he's gotten a feel for the league, he's really showing what he can do.
Well, he just came in at a tough time, I guess. A lot of the young players now, most especially those that got drafted for this year's tournament, a lot of them are coming in a time that is an unusual time for the league. So it's definitely going to be tough. But then, at least we should be thankful and happy that we are watching the PBA.
Oh, there you go! Jamie Malonzo punishing that rim. Another highlight. Man, I thought the first one he did to start the game was already impressive. This was a whole new level.
I tell you, we need to have a dunk contest soon.
I think it should be Jamie Malonzo versus Jamie Malonzo. Let him just dunk and dunk and dunk.
We'll see the other young players. I mean, I'm sure they have some of those guys.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
But this is actually fantastic here.
And look at that, a little windmill over in Bacolor, Pampanga. You can watch that from any view, any angle. It's gonna be looking terrific. That is definitely a 50 for Jamie. Jamie Malonzo has been terrific. You know, these were his numbers back in their last game against Blackwater, and he's continuing to do damage here.
Yes, he's definitely a great player in the making, and you know, sky's the limit for his. We are definitely going to see more of Jamie Malonzo with the way he is playing, and with that kind of athleticism, for sure, he will be. You know, definitely excite all the fans watching the PBA.
You know, Coach, I feel like it's so interesting, the huddles that we saw from Northport, Batang Pier, as Malonzo trying to get another one in there, right, getting fouled. Will shoot a pair. The last two huddles that we saw from Northport in timeouts, we saw one being led by Kevin Ferrer. The next timeout, it was led by Sean Anthony. Coach Bonitan is assigned as the interim head coach, and you know his real role in the team is team manager. And the way he's leading this team also is by letting the players kind of take a bigger role in figuring out what they want to do.
Well, in the interview last game, okay, after they won that game, he told everybody that in practice, when Northport was having a difficult time coming into the games, the players were already doing their own thing, meaning they were conducting the practice, they were professionals, and a lot of those guys were like the veterans, were the ones leading the younger guys to what they were going to do. At that moment, I think that Coach Pido was not available to coach them.
Right.
So they were kind of left alone to do things, but because you have leaders like Sean Anthony, of course, Robert Bolick, and even Kevin Ferrer, the veterans, then they were the ones who helped the younger players get together. Oh!
Malonzo in full attack mode!
That's 3 dunks already on Malonzo.
Wow! This rookie has a visa to every country. He keeps on flying there.
Well, he almost had a follow-up dunk a while ago. It's just that he missed it. But that was prior to that 200 slam that we saw a while ago.
You know, we get a lot of statistics from PBA statistician Fidel Mangonon. We might have to ask him for if he has something on the number of dunks a rookie has had in his first season in the league. And this isn't even a season, coach. This is just a tournament, the very first tournament of Jamie Malonzo. And Northport is only on its 6th game. Feels like he's already had a gazillion dunks.
Well, I think he's still. You're gonna see how Malonzo. He'll get stronger. He'll jump higher because of all the training. But right here, look at this. Oh, he cuffed it. He's just dunking on everyone.
The dunks that he's pulling out in game are some dunks that we see usually in the PBA Slam Dunk Contest, if we're being honest, right? So this guy will be an exciting player. Fans will watch out for him for many years to come, for sure. But you know, the most important thing here for Northport, on top of the production of Malonzo, is that they've gotten up by 18 points.
Yes, they blew it out. And that's the most important thing because they're getting the momentum already. They're getting energized with all those highlights from Jamie Malonzo.
Taha to the free throw line. If we're going to summarize what's happened here for Northport, what has worked well for them is that I feel like they upped their aggression, coach.
Yes, they're more aggressive now. They're not waiting for anyone. They just go on attack mode every single time.
Now for the side of the Terrafirma Dyip, they're definitely looking for more offense. Roosevelt Adams has 10 points. Next to him, it's Aldrich Ramos with 6, Camson with 5. But it's not just the number of points, it's also the way that they have come. Not a lot of impact.
There again.
And Malonzo is just having fun with it over there in the Davsu gym. Someone's gonna have to tighten those screws on that basket at the halftime break.
I hope he gets 10 dunks, so that's like 20 points already. I'm sure he'll be so tired doing all 10 dunks at the same time.
again, Rosser will be someone who's gonna have to provide for Terrafirma, especially in difficult situations like this one they're in right now.
But I think, look at 16 to none in fast break points. That's the reason why they broke away and led by 20 points at this stage.
Bowling. Oh, he was feeling it, but the rim wasn't feeling his shot. Neither was the ball.
So look at this, he even bounced it first.
So that is a beautiful angle to watch it from. A little bit of a twist, an angle as well on that view. And Malonzo, again, like Coach Eric said, that was his 4th dunk. Rosser almost landed on Ferrer there. And MGR picking up his opponent after scoring 2 points. They are still down by 18. And the number we showed earlier, Coach Eric, will probably be the first thing that Terrafirma will have to solve. 16 fast break points in 1 half when you haven't scored a single one.
Yes, that's a problem. And because of the tournament format, and even if Terrafirma ends up, not winning most of his games, then they definitely have to watch out for the bottom 4, because our tournament format states that if you end up in the bottom 4, it's bye-bye time for you. That's why it's very important that Terrafirma, recovers their game, and at least gets back in this game, especially that they already have gone on a 3-game winning streak. What they have to do is just to pick it up again, but from the looks of it, they really have to improve on their defense. Their transition defense is off. That's a 16-point fast break points difference. So that in itself is going to be a big problem for your Terrafirma.
Northport will try and take the last shot of the first half. Already up by 18, they want a little bit more separation. Reich will try to provide. Unsuccessful on the 3. Lanete will not get the bounce. But boy, what a first half. Definitely a lot of highlights, Coach.
Yes, it brought back a lot of those exciting memories of like those imports on a fast break attack. I mean, this guy here, Jamie Malonzo, has been, electrifying all our viewers with all these highlight dunks that we're seeing.
That was dunk number 1, the first one we showed. This was dunk number 2, a windmill. He'll bounce it off the floor for dunk number 3. And if you haven't had enough yet, well, he was able to get one more. And it was right on the grill of Rashawn McCarty. All 50s for those 4 dunks, and it's 55-37. Northport up at the half. $55-37 is our score at the half. This battle between the Terrafirma Dyip and the Northport Batang Pier. This is the Honda PBA Philippine Cup 2021. You're watching this on PBA Rush. Jatsu dito kasama si Coach Eric Reyes. And we just saw dominance from the Northport Batang Pier. At the start of this game, we were already seeing some good things for Northport. This is how they opened the game up.
Well, they really focused on fast break even when Greg was still playing here in the first half. They wanted to make sure that they take care of business early because they don't want to go on a close game against Terrafirma.
And Coach Eric is mentioning that Greg was there at the start of the game for Northport because he would eventually be ejected early in the second quarter as he committed a flagrant foul penalty 2 on Roosevelt Adams. But actually, Coach, that felt like the part or the point of the game here was that foul that Greg committed on Roosevelt Adams. It was a scary sight.
Yes, it was. It was something that you really don't want to see. But then I felt that it was accidental on the part of Greg. He was trying to go for that ball. Unfortunately, tinamaan nga dun si Roosevelt Adams. But this guy, after the ejection of Greg Slaughter, Malonzo went on a tear. Dagdag mo pa dyan si Robert Bolick who was shooting the ball very well. But right here, these are all the highlights of the dunks of Jamie Malonzo.
And it felt like that point of the game where Slaughter was ejected, it was where Northport decided, okay, we're not gonna be playing games anymore. We're gonna be all business in this game. And again, like you said, it was Jamie Malonzo, the rookie, leading the way for them. A lot of Robert Bolick as well in that first half. These are the numbers.
Well, they did total dominance here on the part of Northport, but what's missing is really the defense of Terrafirma. Northport shooting at a 50% point clip, and you have a lot of dominance in the paint and even on bench points, especially on the fast break. This is something that Terrafirma has to correct. Their defense is the one that's really giving them problems. It's also clearly seen on the stat sheet.
That's right. And here are the leading scorers for both teams. The Young Guns showing out in the Dubsu Gym in Bacolor, Pampanga. Roosevelt Adams leading Terrafirma with 10. Jamie Malonzo leading Northport with 12.
Well, you know, definitely Northport is having a great time. They're enjoying their running game. So that's something that they did. They committed to really picking up their game and being more intense. Now that Greg wasn't there, they know that they have an advantage with Greg Slaughter in the middle. But since Greg was ejected, now the players took it upon themselves to really not to really toy around or play around with Terrafirma, because Terrafirma is a dangerous team.
Kwame Chongson, career high 28 points against San Miguel, and then 31, resetting his career high the very next game against Ginebra. But not the best production in their previous game. And then here, only 4 points, 1 of 6 shooting in the first half.
Well, so far, they're all struggling. Terrafirma needs a lot more coming from their defense. Why? Because they need to get fired up. They need to improve on their defense so that they can get some easy baskets on the opposite end. Let's remember, there's no more Greg Slaughter in the middle to intimidate everyone driving in the basket. Terrafirma has to attack the basket with a lot of aggressiveness, draw some fouls, and hopefully get back in this game.
We also would like to remind you of the importance of this game. We're past the halfway point of the elimination round, so teams are now starting to have an idea of where they may land by the end of eliminations, by the time the playoffs start. And these two teams not in the best of positions so far. There's still a few more games to try and climb up the team standings, and this is just going to be such a pivotal game, Coach, for both of them.
I agree with you there. We are towards the wind up of the elimination round, but look at this jumper here by McCarthy, straight and through.
Yeah, he's someone who they will try to look for a little bit more. Only played 11 and a half minutes, Coach, in the first half, and was scoreless. Only had 1 attempt. So if you're Coach John Del Cadel, you might want to see a more aggressive McCarthy here, but it's Bolick who shows aggressiveness attacking the basket.
But Robert Bolick is unstoppable at this point. He's just like zigzagging his way in the shaded area. No one challenging, no one staying in front.
And then after a layup, massaging, stroking that mustache of his, a unique mustache you'll only see on Robert Bolick.
I think that's where all his
powers,
stickum is coming from. He's getting a lot of good grip on the ball.
Nico Elorde checking back into the game, replacing Paulo Taha. 16-point lead still for Northport. Kyungson. Ramos will try to shoot from outside. Had a good line, but was short. Rebound collected by Malonzo.
Soft.
Now it's McCarthy getting a grip of that basketball. Rashawn leaving it up for Aldridge. Good look for McCarthy. Comes up short. And it's going to be Malonzo getting called for the loose ball foul.
Pushing foul number 3, Jaime Malonzo. That's his second, third for Northport.
Jamie Malonzo just showing us a lot of talent and excitement as well, man. He's really having fun. I mean, he's also, for some reason, Coach, finding himself leaking out and alone in transition all the time.
Yes, he would always look forward to that. That's his job. I mean, he loves the open court. On the half-court set, he also knows what to do. He also can shoot the ball from the 3, and he's done that against the Bossings last time out.
Jongson to Rosser. Now it's Batiller stepping back, shooting over Anthony. That's off, but the rebound falls in the hands of MGR. No look to McCarthy. Rashawn attacking, one-hander, no. And Malonzo secures his 6th rebound of the game. Bolig. May have rushed that possession a little bit. Sloppy play here for both teams. Bolig leaving it up for Malonzo! He's not done yet!
I told you I'm waiting for 10 dunks. That's
Well, we're
20
halfway
points.
there. We've had 5
Almost
already.
there. Almost there. And with the way they're running their fast break, you're just having fun right now.
Absolutely. And Mami Kyongson has every intention to end that party of the Northport Batang Pier.
16 to 8 points off turnovers. That's way too much.
Bolig being trapped. Malonzo, he also has that shot from outside. Not that time though, but on the rebound play, Yongson pushed away Anthony. That's gonna be a foul on Wami. There's the steal by Bolig. He saw Malonzo, and you know what happens. Flight JM3 taking off in Bacolor.
He's definitely going to enjoy Robert Bolig being a teammate, especially off the transition, because he will definitely get that ball.
I don't remember seeing 5 dunks from one local in a game here in the PBA. Last time I saw that, I don't know. That's what.
Maybe 2, maybe 3, but not
Right?
5.
And also, again, all highlights.
Or maybe those are like import-like numbers in terms of
That's
like
right.
dunks.
I mean, we wouldn't be surprised. 5 dunks for an import. I think we.
Maybe Tony Harris back
Yeah,
then
yeah.
could have at least had 5 in one game because he was also running the break well.
How about the vision of Robert Bolig finding Lanete there? There was a stretch, coach, that Bolig really tried to look for his shot and he was successful. Now he shifted again to setting up his teammates, also successful for him.
He's making the right decision. He knows when to really run the offense well. He's just so experienced, and you know that stint playing internationally gave him a lot more confidence.
Elorde picks up the foul there. Yongson will head to the free throw line.
Shooting 2, Wami
The
Jongson.
lead of Northport has ballooned to 20. Was a high of 22 actually.
Roosevelt Adams for Rashawn McCarthy.
But looks like there's a
Disconcerting the shooter, 2 free throws for
late,
Wami Jongson.
it's a late violation against Northport. So even though Yongson missed that first one, there's going to be a replacement. He'll take 2 more.
Substitution. Roosevelt Adams.
What needs to happen here for Terrafirma, coach?
Well, you know, it's the defense. There's too many easy shots here by Northport. They have to be more physical. When I've seen Terrafirma be physical also, and they can do it. They have the big boys like Camson and all their other bigs who can play physical under the basket. But that has to stop. I mean, all these highlights of Malonzo has to stop. They have to really control and defend that fast break. Those are easy shots coming from Northport.
That one, the ball decided to just fall in. Onubere hitting a 3-pointer. Batiller had a good intention there, but the pass was a bit off. Malonzo fired up. Meanwhile, MGR asking for a review, but you know, they only do that in the final 2 minutes of action.
The guards of Terrafirma has to take charge. They have to control tempo. They have to get everybody organized in this game.
Not every day you get something like that
Why can't Jamie Malonzo pick that up too?
and turn it into a dunk, maybe. We were joking earlier, Coach Eric, about the rim now on the side of Terrafirma. Earlier, you know, where Terrafirma where Northport was shooting, that it might need some adjustments, some tightening of some screws there with how many dunks Malonzo, hammered that rim on.
Well,
And they were actually checking it.
they did. They
The
do.
league was actually, we
They-
don't
they-
know if it was because of that.
They heard you. They heard you all the way from here. And that's the reason why they wanted everything tightened up, because for sure they will see a lot of highlights coming from Malonzo.
And after this game, they might have to check out the other side. Dahil doon naman dumaktak si Jamie Malonzo on that alley-oop. We might see a little bit more. But Batilier was able to find a way around the defense of Malonzo.
He's been very aggressive. Batiller is one of those guys who always goes hard to the basket. We've seen it even in his last game. All he needs to do is a little bit more of a control, a little bit more of better decision making, because sometimes he has to play the guard position wherein he would have to create for his teammates.
That's right. And he also played under the leadership or the mentorship of Coach Bonitan when he was with the Letran Knights. Also won a championship there.
Anak na niya yan eh. It's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
They're like kids. All these guys who played for Coach Bonitan, they're like their kids already. That when they see them in the pros, since they know them very well already and what they can do and plus their attitude, chances are they will be given a shot.
That's usually what happens, coach, kapag yung coach-player relationship in college. I think in college siguro mostly, doon natin nakikita yan. But even in high school, before the pros, there are coaches who really come up with excellent relationships with their players. Another one would be Coach Topex Robinson.
Yes, madami siya mga players eh. Back then, during my time, I remember, John, I was with Swift in 92, but I'll tell you later when we come back.
It's the halfway point already of the third quarter, and it's still Northport in full control of this ball game. Back to the action inside the Dabsu Gym in Bacolor, Pampanga, where the Northport Batang Pier have made life difficult for the Terrafirma Dyip, and they've done it in a lot of different ways. Bolik hitting from outside and setting up his teammates. Not the best shooting clips, if we're being honest about it, but then everything else, all the other positives he's done in this game, they make up for it.
Yes, he always takes charge in every Northport attack. And every time Bolik scores or at least makes an assist, he inspires and gets everyone involved. Of course, Jamie Malonzo was the star of the night. He's been, electrifying the fans with the way he's been dunking that basketball.
We just wish that not only us, but the fans, the PBA fans were there inside that gym. Imagine that, coach, how the stands, the crowd, the audience would erupt after seeing dunks like that live.
You'll be hearing a lot of oohs and ahs there with the way Malonzo was dunking that ball. I mean, it really shows that he is very artistic when it comes to his dunking ability.
Adams gets fouled there again. He'll head to the free throw line. It's been quite a struggle for the usual producers of the Terrafirma Dyip.
Shooting two,
Roosevelt Adams has 12 points, and that's already above his average. But again, coach, it's more than just the number sometimes. It's the impact that comes with the buckets, the points.
That's what Terrafirma's looking for. Someone to really be like their Jamie Malonzo, who will electrify or at least energize their team to come back in this game.
Balanza setting up the table for the Northport Batang Pier.
You know,
Sherrick,
if you notice, Jot, if you notice here, a lot of the players, Terrafirma went small. They don't have Lapot, they don't have Babaini. They just want to focus more on speed because Northport has been running them to the ground.
that's right. You know, fast break points still dominated by Northport. 18 to none, coach. Still no fast break points for Terrafirma. And as we've come to know this team, the Terrafirma G, they like to run. But all the running in this game has favored the Northport Batang Pier.
It's either Terrafirma slows the game down or they can run with them also. I mean, they just have to find that, you know, the proper balance in their offense so that at least they can bring their team back.
We generally categorize three statistics as hustle stats, and that's second chance points, points off turnovers, and fast break points. And all of those have been very, very much controlled by the Batang Pier. And that's also a big reason why they're still up by 19.
Well, that's hard. If Terrafirma is not able to get into the hustle points, then they're definitely not winning the 50-50 balls.
Lanete being fouled there by Conson.
Only foul number 13, Eric Kamson. That's his fifth foul. 5 team fouls for Terrafirma.
Also
5
the
fouls,
fifth foul,
still
yeah.
4 minutes left in the third quarter.
2 free throws.
We know how
for
big of a contributor Eric Kamson has become for the Terrafirma G. And he's one of those guys who can help ignite something on the side of the Jeep. But now, Coach Johnny Del Cardel has no other option but to bring him back to the bench. Carvo Lanete at the free throw line, always a steady shooter.
So that's the problem, Jot, when you don't have Kahilig. This is what happened. Even their previous game, when Kahilig went down, that's the time things didn't really go Terrafirma's way.
Yeah, Kahilig, again, you know, he's not the leading scorer, not the leading rebounder, not the biggest name on this Terrafirma roster, but
The intensity that he provides.
exactly, coach.
Paano palaban eh? You know, he will mix it up with you. He will have to, if you're physical with him, he will throw it back to you 10 times. So that's something that Terrafirma needs at this stage.
And Kahilig will also be the one who would be able to guard the best player of the opposing team. That is a role that has been bestowed upon him several times already.
Shooting 2, Robert Bullock.
Bolek with 13 points and 6 assists has had something to do with a lot of the points that Northport has been able to score in this game.
Well, he's just having fun right here.
Oh, definitely a guy who knows how to have fun.
14 points already.
Missing that second free throw though. Terrafirma attacking the baseline. MGR getting the offensive board. Ramos will try from outside. Unsuccessful. Now Northport is slowing this game down also. That works to their advantage. Having a 22-point lead right now.
Jot, can you imagine if Jackson Corpus was still with Terrafirma?
Yeah, that's the kind of energy they need right now.
That's the kind of energy, rebounding.
Especially with Northport still rolling on the offensive side. Ramos fouled by Reich. And the free throw line, coach, is the lone spot on the floor that Terrafirma has been able to get some points in the last few minutes of this game. Meanwhile, for the Batang Pier, it seems like wherever they go, whatever spot on the floor, they're able to produce points. We have a timeout brought to you by Honda, the official motorcycle of the PBA. Let's take a look at the team standings here, and as you can see, Northport and Terrafirma on the lower half of the team standings. And Coach Eric, this is why we said that this game, this particular meeting between these two clubs, very important for them if they want to break into a playoff position.
Yeah, with this big lead of Northport, unless some miracle happens with Terra Firma, that they are able to come back and win, they are going to get pushed all the way down in the cellar, and that's not good because the bottom four league goes on break. Northport still has a lot of chances to move all the way up, especially if they win this game, because they will still be having more of their games coming up. Magsusunod-sunod yung laro nila kasi ngayon lang ulit yung magre-resume yung schedule nila after yung some health protocols.
Subido left open. Renzo Subido, microwave. Instant offense provided.
All the more you're going to get crazy now because you don't even know who to guard anymore. Northport is just so confident at this stage.
And iba talaga nagagawa, Coach, ng mga highlight plays like those dunks that Malonzo
That's
made. Not only did they fire up his teammates and his team, it also demoralized the opponents.
Grabe naman paano ka naman di ma-demoralize with the way Malonzo has been doing all his highlights in this game.
And it took some time, Laneta, that was a late whistle, but Laneta was able to draw a foul there on Roosevelt Adams.
Subido has to be, if you want to get more minutes, if you want to, improve on your game in the PBA, Subido cannot pass on a shot like that. He was wide open already. They were up by, close to the 24 points. Dapat di ka na mahiya. You have to keep shooting that. Especially he made one already. That's going to be a heat check. There's no room for hesitation, especially when your team is up by a big margin and you already have made one 3-point shot.
I've actually had conversations with some coaches. I forgot who specifically, but I heard that there was a coach who had the rule that if you made two or in a row and you don't shoot that next shot, he's gonna take you out of the game. Because parang you earned that, coach. I guess that's a message as well.
Heat check na yun eh.
Yeah.
Heat check. And I mean, Subido made one already.
Yeah, and siguro yung pagkakakwento, of course, is already a little bit exaggerated, right? But then, that's also what you want to hear if you're a player, di ba? What you want to hear from your coach, that you're being given the green light.
Yes, oo. Tsaka, coaches will only give you the green light if they see that you're taking it with a lot of confidence and you have been making it consistently. Now, if you make one and then you hesitate on your next try, then coaches still would, hindi pa buo yung loob ng coach to really allow you to just take it anytime you want. And again, it happens.
That's right.
It happened to me many times before, Jat. That's why I ended up sitting down more.
How about those dunks that Malonzo did? Did those happen to you as well?
Oh, I had some good one, but like you said, if Malonzo can make 5, I can make 1 in 1 season.
I'll take that. I mean, just to reach the backboard, But sometimes it's already an achievement. They used to say that the top board is the Pinoy dunk. But now that does not apply, coach, because it feels like every young hooper in the country can now dunk.
Hey, you cannot make a top board now because they shaped that backboard from 48 inches to 42 now.
Oh,
So
wow.
that's 6 inches off. So guys like me who love to do the top board back then, by the time you top board now, you'll touch the padding under the basket. So
Well,
there's
great.
no more top board.
I mean, for us recreational athletes, that's the only thing we can reach. And now you shorten it, we can't even reach that.
And by the way, that's offensive goaltending.
Oh yeah, that's the only blessing for.
That's offensive goaltending.
That's the only blessing in disguise for guys who can't reach the rim.
You cannot
can
touch
never.
that board after you make that layup, right? After you make the shot, you cannot. Hindi mo pwede hampasin yung board.
Oh, and
No, I have
Man.
to. When I see the referees again, I'm gonna kid around and talk to them about that.
here Northport staying steady with a 22-point lead, coach. They have fully controlled this game thus far, and it's a lot of defense and translating that into offense.
Yes, Coach John is definitely frustrated. Coach Bonnie is on chill mode because he has done his job as a coach, and his players are definitely delivering the goods for his team.
Robert Bolick leading the way for Northport in a lot of ways. Him and his mustache will head into the fourth quarter with a 22-point lead. We enter the fourth quarter with the Northport Batang Pier up by 22 points. They have won every quarter in this game, and they start the fourth with another bucket.
Well, Kevin, Kevin is just like posting up everyone, showing that he has dominance in the paint.
But you know, Coach, we've been talking about Jamie Malonzo, how he's electrified that gym, and we talked about Robert Bolick, despite not the best shooting day there. Subido commits an offensive foul on that PBA A board. That might be a flagrant too.
I don't think that will be counted as an offensive foul because it was below the half circle under the basket.
Oh yeah, and you know what? I think the A board flopped. But you know, we haven't really been able to talk about Garvo
Garbo
Lanete.
Lanete, yes.
He actually is the leading scorer of Northport with 18 points.
Tahimik lang, no?
Yeah.
Yun nga, that's what I'm saying. I mean, the dunks are electrifying. They're highlights for sure. But Malonzo only has 14 points. Garbo silently, we didn't even notice it. He already has 18 points in the game.
4 3-pointers for Lanete. And you know, here in the fourth quarter, as they started the final 12 minutes with down by 22, Terrafirma might need to play a perfect period for them to truly be able to climb back from this deficit.
Look, if I were in a position like this and things are not really going our way, I'm just going to look for guys who will at least do something better for this last quarter of the game. Regardless of whether they win or not, you want to look for habits that you can carry on to your next game, and that's something that I want to see with the team of Terrafirma. If they cannot really improve on their offense, I'm fine with that. Then at least they cannot. You really want to see them improve their defense because that's something that really needs a lot of correction.
The misses from the free throw line will definitely not help the Jeep in their cause here. Alvo could only go 1 for 2. They're
Ang
trying to
sayang.
get Malone to the basketball. You were saying, Coach?
Yeah, sorry, John. Ang sayang kasi talaga yung Terrafirma had a 3-game winning streak and they beat tough teams. So if they can follow that up with a win or at least a split in their last 2 games after that, it would have been nice for the team.
How about that? 2 points for Jonathan Gray, a guy that had been missed by Northport. Also was nursing an injury. That's going to be an offensive foul on Gabayni. Intentional or not, he planted that elbow on the face of Kevin Ferrer.
But Gabayni in their previous game, he had some good moves, most especially on the post, and that was against Vic Manuel of Phoenix. Here, he still has to refine, his skills on the post, because I feel that he has good size, he has a good height, and he has good hands. Okay, so all you have to do really is if you're going to create contact like that, you have to be at an angle rather than going straight to the chest or the chin of your opponent.
That's right. Just to harp on the discussion on Jonathan Gray, Coach, there was a time this guy was really doing damage in the league. For Meralco, his earlier games with Northport. Of course, he also encountered an injury that kind of slowed his progress down, but if and when he regains that confidence and game timing, game shape, he could be another weapon really for the Batang Pier.
It's tough, I guess, for Jonathan Gray. He loves the open court. He loves to really to penetrate, and perhaps whatever injury he had kind of slowed him down, and he's struggling at this point to regain that kind of deadly form that he was once known.
But do you know that he has one of the nicer stories in terms of his road to the PBA? This guy was a walk-in, a tryout. He walked into a tryout over at the College of St. Benil, to a tryout, of course, led by then Blazers head coach, our analyst here, Coach Richard Del Rosario. And usually, kasi for guys like, guys who make it to the PBA, usually they're stars in college and they were heavily recruited. Not this guy. He tried to get up and had to find a different route for himself, but eventually still making it to the pros.
Yeah, well, that was a nice story there, Jot. And it's something that a lot of the aspiring basketball players can look out for. I mean, all you have to do is just to dream.
Yeah.
Okay, and then once you dream, you just have to go for it and aim for it. And that's what Jonathan Gray did. I mean, if he was just to walk in and Coach Richard saw his talent, and as we all know, when it comes to talent and free throw shooting, Richard is the best in discovering talent. So
Definitely.
And tama naman yung pagkakapili niya kay Jonathan Gray. Although hindi natin masyado makita pa rito because pabalik pa lang yung he still wants to regain his old form.
24-point lead still for the Northport Batang Pier. Wami Tiongson has been troubled over his last few games. This one included, actually.
Hindi niya makuha yung ano niya when he was player of the week honors when he won
yeah.
that. He couldn't. He's trying his best, but yun nga, sabi ko sa Jot, once you have a player of the week honors, you can expect that your next week will be tougher 10 times.
That's right. And it was actually already quite surprising that he was able to still reset his career high against Ginebra after a marvelous performance against San Miguel. And it just speaks volumes of the talent of Wami Tiongson. Pero you're absolutely correct, Coach. The more points you score, the more big games na sunod-sunod, it gets tougher.
Yeah. You'll be like on the #1 marked man of your next opponent, for sure.
And look at Terrafirma now. They are starting to make their final run, possibly, and it starts here. For unanswered point, they are within 20. We have a timeout brought to you by Honda, the official motorcycle of the PBA. Again, the story of this game is that we have two teams trying to get in position for the playoffs. As you can see on the team standings, 3 and 5, number 10 is Terrafirma, and just 2 spots ahead of them is Northport. So it's gonna be a crucial game, but right now it's looking more and more like Northport taking a win here.
If Northport goes on to win this game, it's going to be very difficult for Terrafirma because they're going to be pushed all the way down. And as it is, there's like they're like in the bottom 4 of the team standings if Northport goes on to win this game.
Oh, and Batilier finding a way to get that through.
This is the reason why Batilier is getting major minutes here. He is a very physical guard. He will keep on attacking just like Sidney Onwubere, driving straight to the ball.
And you know, look at that split. That has been that spin move, coach. I feel like it has developed so much, no, through the years, and different players are already using it in different ways. Din, syempre yung big men meron ng drop step. That obviously, you know, it was heavily used in the 90s when the premium in global basketball was on big men.
Well, it will always come in handy that a skill like that is going to be up. Oh,
that would have been number 6. Sayang.
That was way too high. And for Jamie Malonzo to miss that, it must have been really high.
And you know what? If Northport is comfortable already with the lead they have right now, this might be a chance to see how high can Jamie Malonzo really jump. So unti-unti mo itaas yung mga alley-oop mo sa kanya.
Oh, eh.
Hanggang saan ba yung abot nitong teammate ko?
Maybe when you said a while ago that they were adjusting the rim because of all the dunks of Jamie Malonzo, maybe they thought that the rim is below 10 feet.
Oh yeah, they had to check because Malonzo seemed to be easily reaching the top of that backboard almost.
Well, his head was almost above the rim already in some of those dunks.
Bolek trying to go one-on-one against Batilier. Batilier has had a tough job of trying to match up with Robert Bolek since his collegiate days. And here in the PBA, though, he would still be the one tasked to guard such a talented guard in Robert Bolek.
Bolek is like pushing him away. Just creating space, knowing what is valid and what is not. Oh, what a pass. What a pass by Bolek. Is just going to drive you crazy. If he were a big man, you wouldn't know if he's going to go for a shot, or when he goes for an assist, you don't know where he's going to pass it.
A miss for Terrafirma. Ferrer wants it. Oh, they give him space, but Kevin kicks it out to Onwubere. I don't know how he saw Onwubere with his body facing the rim. An offensive foul on Gamson. Onwubere flies all the way back to almost to San Fernando, Pampanga.
He probably got bumped from behind by Onwubere. Like, oh, Gamson fouls out. Oh, what a way to foul out there. Probably did like something that Onwubere did.
Gamson only with 7 points and a rebound in this game. Although he did not really see a lot of action, only close to 14 minutes for him this afternoon. Jamie Malonzo will take a seat, and if Terrafirma will not be able to bridge this gap, that might be it for him today as well. Less than 6 minutes remaining in this game. Terrafirma versus Northport. You're watching this on PBA Rush. John Sulit and Coach Eric Reyes bring the action to you guys. There was a lot of offense as well as defense actually for Northport back in the first half that allowed them to initially put together a double-digit advantage. And since then, they refused to let Terrafirma bridge that gap. They have shut down the offensive options of Terrafirma. Wami Chongson has 9 points, but only 2 for 9 from the field. And you also have a guy, of course, like Rashawn McCarthy, 8 points only, 3 of 8 from the field. I mean, for any other player, possibly on that Terrafirma roster, maybe 9 points and 8 points, good enough. But then for these guys, because they're expected to carry the scoring load, you might want to see a little bit more if you're a Terrafirma fan.
It's been very difficult for Terrafirma. A lot of frustrating moments at this stage.
Pollock spinning, trying to split a couple of defenders. The foul eventually was on Pollock. Terrafirma will call a timeout here under 5 minutes to play. This is the first game of your Saturday doubleheader. Northport maintaining a double-digit lead. Gusto mo ba ng kakaiba ang viewing experience sa PBA? Register to join the PBA virtual fan experience and become a Bida fan. Dahil dito sa PBA, tayo ang Bida. The registration link will be posted the day before each PBA game day on PBA, PBA Rush TV5, and One Sports Facebook page. So that's a different way that you can enjoy the action and kind of feel like you're still over there watching live action inside the Dapsu gym. Everyone just stopped playing there, thinking that there was going to be a foul called on Northport.
And if no call, you just have to go down. No matter how disappointed you are.
Pollock will miss, and you know he's also a little bit frustrated because his shots haven't really been falling. You know, he's gotten to double digit in scoring and hasn't also done his part in rebounds and assists. Pero we know that Bolly can shoot better than what we're seeing from him. Nonetheless, you know, it's hard to complain about the score and the lead they're enjoying right now.
Well, you know, Bolek shot the ball very well in the first half. That's the time when they made their run. You know, there will be some frustration. Yeah, there will be some moments wherein you hope that you can still have that hot hand, just like in the first half. But what matters the most, at least, is this big lead that they have.
Yeah, and it might, actually it will, take a lot for Terrafirma to climb back from this 23-point hole they've fallen in. The difficult thing is the guys who would usually spark a rally or run for them haven't had the kindest of afternoons here. And that's just basketball, coach. Sometimes you go into a game and you feel like you won't miss a single shot. And sometimes nothing falls.
There are moments when no matter how open you are, and you still couldn't find the basket because there are some days that it's like you're off. No matter how good you have practice, it's just not your day on the court.
Did you see that, coach? What we were talking about earlier. It was a top court, the Pinoy dunk.
The ref should have not allowed that basket.
Northport is about to break into the 100-point mark.
Right here, let's take a look at the top board.
Let's see. Oh, di ba?
Hindi umabot eh. Hanggang padding lang siya eh. No, but seriously, isn't it there's a rule that if you are going to go for a chase down block and you hit the board
I
without
think
hitting the
it's
ball, unless it has to be really hard, right?
yeah. If
And
I
if it
think if
shakes,
the
if
if
it
it
shakes,
shakes,
yes.
if there's
And that's the
movement on the
time.
backboard,
They would nullify the basket, or they would call you for offensive
yeah,
goaltending for doing that. But what if it's the other way around? You tap the bar so hard after a layup,
para ma-shoot.
and it shakes. No, I don't think so. Just so.
But yeah, you know, what if naipit yung bola, di ba? Tapos
Kasi yun lang kaya mo, hanggang top board lang eh.
but, I mean, look at Calvo finishing at the rim. Look at all the other guys in the PBA who may not be as tall as some of their fellow athletes, but then they just find so many creative ways to score and to still attack the basket amongst the big men.
Hey, Johnny Abarientos is only 5'8", or at the most 5'9". He dominated the league like crazy.
Wow, yeah.
And when you see Johnny A before, especially if you're going to get pressured by Johnny A, you will think twice. You will think twice about bringing that basketball down.
What would you say was the most impressive thing about Johnny Abarrientos' game back
Well,
then?
number one, of course, he's a very smart player. Number two, he's so quick. And he just anticipates the ball very well. And the quickness in itself is an understatement, because we all know that when you say Johnny's quick, he's quicker than quick. And even before, I remember, watching Calvo and Reden Zelda, all these guys, even Wami Chongson. And when you find these guys quick, I mean, Johnny is really fast. That when you get pressured in the backcourt, you will definitely need help to bring the ball down.
What I would give to have seen Johnny A at his prime and Jason Castro at his prime, just a foot race, 94 feet, full length of the court.
We would always love to see that so we see who is really the GOAT.
Oh yeah, it's always gonna be
Diba? But
left in a.
Wala, it's always a question
It's gonna be a
mark.
thought bubble
Yeah,
forever.
a thought bubble. Yeah, forever.
But then it's also the beauty of it because players and fans, and let me talk about fans, they have their own goals. Like one fan's goal or one basketball fanatic's goal might not be another fanatic's goal. And sometimes there's no way to truly compare. Even the numbers, right? I don't feel like numbers would automatically do justice for that conversation. But it's what's the beauty of it, coach?
I think you have to change the acronym. It shouldn't be GOAT. It cannot be all time, because you cannot compare two players of different eras. You can only compare numbers, because that's the most objective way of doing it, or maybe the number of championships. But when you start comparing the best of then and the best of now, that's going to be it's always going to be a thought thing. Maybe you should spell it as GOHT,
Greatest of his time.
greatest of his time.
Paundo gets two defenders up in the air. Looks like GP Faundo lost a lot of weight
Yes,
and a lot of hair. He used to have that
probably
man bun.
you probably had that haircut.
The Northport lead keeps on growing. It's now up to 25 points right now.
Did Brian Faundo also have a haircut?
That is something I would like to find out. I haven't really come to think
I
of
think
it.
I
Yeah.
saw Brian Faundo the last game that I covered.
.27 advantage for Northport. Their rally here and their campaign, as much as we emphasize that this is an important game for them as they try to climb the standings and get into a good playoff position, their job is far from over as
Definitely.
for the matter of the elimination round, because for Northport, they still have to face Magnolia, they still have to face TNT, rain or shine. So
It's not going to be an easy
Yeah.
road to get on top.
At the same time, coach, it's never easy for any of these teams.
Pero when you look at if you just look at it on paper, I think they can do it. Especially if you know if Greg is there and they have full complement of their roster and their coaches, I think they have a good chance of at least getting into the next round.
Oh, Calvo finding a way to get that ball through. Finishes through the foul.
Foul is on number 11, Clint Dominguez. That's his second.
You know what Terrafirma can do, since it's going to be mopping up operations for Northport. I would try to bring this big deficit down. Why? Because the problem here, Jot, is if there is a tie,
Yeah.
and definitely you can get kicked out because the teams are all bunched up. You don't want to come in to a quotient system wherein you're down by 22 points.
Absolutely. And well, that's also why possibly Northport is trying to use up as much time from the clock as they can. This will go down to be just dominant performance for the Northport Batang Pier. Sure, it was powered by the dunks that Malonzo did back in the first half, one also in the second half. It might have started then. That was the fire. Those were the fire starters. But so many guys also chipping in, coach.
Yes, there's a lot of players making contributions here. We've been talking about Malonzo, Robert Bolick. Of course, let's not forget Garbolanete, who was the lead scorer at some time in the game, because everyone is just like we were just both talking about and amazed with how Malonzo was dunking that ball. Yung pala, Garbolanete already had more points than them.
Yeah, like you said, Garvo leads everyone with 18 points, Bolick with 15, Malonzo has 14. 10 of those, or 12 of those. 12 out of the 14 points of Malonzo came from dunks. Imagine that.
Grabe.
And then Onobere also broke into double figures
Yeah,
with 10.
Onobere also scored, so many of them really contributed here.
But the reason also why we were saying that it was a matter of translating their defense into offense is because they forced Terrafirma into 16 turnovers. Now that might not exactly be a wow number yet, but the thing is, they scored 24 points out of those 16 turnovers. And it was also a factor why Northport was able to enjoy 21 fast break points in this game. They take the W here, 104 to 84. Northport collecting their third win of the tournament, second in a row for them as they try to make a rally for a better playoff position.
But that's total dominance here of the Northport Batang Pier. They simply just pushed and pushed the entire game and just worked on their fast breaks. And this guy right here giving us a lot of highlights and enjoyment covering a Northport game.
Our next level player of the game is Jamie Malonzo, brought to you by Honda, the official motorcycle of the PBA. You're going to want to check those dunks out on YouTube later on. Those will be watched a lot. He did provide with a lot of highlights, a lot of positives, but like we said earlier, also a lot of other guys helping out in this win for the Northport Batang Pier.
Where Northport moves to 3-3, that's total of 6 games. They have 5 more games left. So, the road is still quite long for Northport. On the other hand, Terrafirma has 9 games. They only have won 3 times. They have 2 more games remaining. So that actually doesn't really give them a good position of qualifying into the next round unless they go for a sweep. Then perhaps maybe the magic number of 5 will hopefully carry them to the next round.
Good afternoon and welcome to our post-game interview. Joining us are Northport Batang Pier interim head coach Bonnie Tan and our best player of the game, Jaime Malonzo. Congratulations, coach and Jaime.
Thank you,
Jaime, you and your team seem to be just enjoying it out there. What did your team talk about in particular before this game?
In preparation. Go ahead.
Again, it's all the coaches sa system from Coach Pito's system. So Um, Wala kaming pagbabago. Um, we're just dedicating our game kasi for our coaches at saka sa mga loved ones sa mga naiwan namin sa Manila. So, yun, yun lang na, and enjoy the game kasi nga dikit-dikit yung mga games. So, I told my boys na we'll take all the games one at a time. So, yun, at least they're responding as of the moment. Tomorrow kasi we have a game din.
Jaime, what made you so confident doing those dunks?
Yeah, we just went out there and had fun. We knew with Greg Slaughter out, we were all going to have to step up a little bit. And so after that first quarter, that's what we did, and we decided to end the half strong, and we got it done.
Who was your inspiration coming into the game?
Coming into the game, probably just for our coaches, we got our coaches back home watching us, so just coming out there and getting the wins for them, getting a second win for Coach Bonnie. And for the team, that's what we wanted to do, and we got it done today.
Coach Bonnie, after po mawala si Greg, so marami po nag-expect na parang bababa yung moral ng team. Ano po yung sinabi niyo sa kanila after umalis ni Greg?
Yeah, laking bagay kasi na yung presence ni Greg sa shaded lane. So, talagang yung nawala. We have a game plan naman na without Greg, there's a different game plan lang sa defense namin. Yun, and I'm happy na they responded sa game plan pa rin na without Greg, na yung plan na without Greg. So, yun, Jamie, actually last game, he played also well. I'm happy na nag-step siya yung pagkawala ni Greg.
Now we turn you over to our press friends. First up is Mr. Ray Hoble.
Hi, Coach, and Jamie, congratulations to Northport. This question is for both of you. How do you take it as an inspiration, knowing that your coaches are facing a battle of their own? They're also facing a battle of their own, right? They're still on the recovery stage. Can you hear me?
Putol-putol.
Can you repeat your question, Sir Ray?
Okay. How do you take it as an inspiration, knowing that your coaches are facing their own battle as they are still recovering from the virus?
Yun, actually, sila yung di ba, yung hinahanap natin na yung inspiration natin. So, all our games, nawala sila dito. We're all dedicating our games sa mga ailing coaches, mga recovering coaches namin na soon nandito naman na sila. But kasi, again, they're working hard sa team, and the boys really doesn't want to give up lang basta-basta ng ganun eh. So, yun lang, yun yung talagang nagpupush amin ng nakikita ko sa mga players na kahit walang coach nag-respond na gusto nila manalo at maglaro dito sa Pampanga.
Big question for Jamie.
Once again, we look back at the highlights from this game brought to you by Honda, the official motorcycle of the PBA. And it doesn't get old. Watching all these dunks from Jamie Malonzo. I mean, we've seen them how many times already, Coach Eric, but still impressive.
Yeah, it's really amazing. Amazing talent for a guy that's so new in the PBA. But at the same time, he's really showing a lot of promise, a lot of potential. If you have that leaping ability, for sure you will also impress your team and or even inspire your team to work hard. And Troy Reich really showed us the way, also making some major contributions in this game in the first quarter.
I think, the story of the game was consistent from start to finish. It was the defense of Northport, they would get stops, and then it would translate to buckets like these from Jamie Malonzo in the first half. and also a lot of other guys helping out.
Well, it never, hindi nakakasawa panoorin to, John. Because grabe talaga yung yung mga openings, yung mga shots na ginawa doon ni Jamie Malonzo.
I think this was, I'm sorry, Coach, but I
Go
think
ahead,
that
go ahead.
was the point where, okay, yeah. Remember in that press room interview, Jamie said they just wanted to go in and have fun.
Yeah.
When you bounce the ball
Yeah.
on the floor and dunk it off of kind of an alley-oop, yeah, you're having fun.
Yeah, he also had some windmill. But on the part of Terrafirma, of course, you don't really want to have a game wherein there's only one player leaking out and just going for all those exhibition dunks. And that's something that Terrafirma would have to get fired up, because you really want to see a good team like Terrafirma bounce back in their next game.
It felt like Terrafirma never really found the rhythm in this game. On the other hand, at different points of this game, it was different guys and weapons for Northport that was doing damage. And Bolik had a stretch, but Garvo Lenete also had a lot of three-pointers here in the second half. 4 in total for the game, good for 18 points.
Yes, there are many players for Northport that contributed. Of course, Bolik, even Taha also got in the scoring column. So, it was relatively a good blowout win for them to at least improve their chances and build their confidence. But then, they just have to, after this game, they have to also look at how they're going to improve their game, most especially that the road is still long to get to the quarterfinal round.
14 out of 15 guys for Northport scored in this game. That's how balanced their attack was. We have one more game for you in your Saturday doubleheader. It's Blackwater versus Phoenix coming up next here on PBA Rush.